guys, Offroad MudMowers. Today we're going to be doing a planned video for my 2019 4x4 build-off rig. Enjoy! So here it is in person, the Honda by 4. What I'm calling it. It's got a 13 or 14 horse Honda GX360. You can maybe see it right in there. There's another number. I don't know what that number is. It's a 2-cylinder there. Has a radiator that goes here. I got it off right now. These are the hoses. When I got this thing, here's a picture of it. The water pump on it, as you can see that's the water pump. This is the overhead cam, and that's the flywheel. It's also got magneto type ignition, which I like because some of the, like an 18 horse Honda has a pickup and a little sensor and a coil and everything. That's just way more complicated. But it's got timing belt here, goes behind the flywheel, and the water pump managed to walk its way off this shaft right in here, and then it started wearing at the flywheel gear, and that made it hard to start. And I don't even know how it ran like that, but we got it tapped back on though, and we'll probably put some weld in there just to keep it from moving. Some other things I've done is bought the Brevo seal gasket because it's obviously leaking a lot around here. And there's also this oil tube gasket I bought, and I bought the front shaft seal. I could replace the back one, but I'd have to manage my way to get that pulley off, and it doesn't look like it's very oily back here, so that should work fine. It does have a 2-to-1 exhaust pipe. You can see the exhaust there and here. I need to replace that stud there. It came out while I was taking the exhaust off. And the exhaust will just go down the side or something, maybe do dual mufflers or something. This is the intake piece. That's how it looks in there. It's got about a 20mm hole. So that slides on here. Note that the nuts are right here, so it's not going on all the way. And if you guys know me, of course it's getting a PZ30 carb. Why not? So my plans are to mount this 30mm intake to about a 20mm, is to cut this thing right here, right about here, maybe cut it a little bit back or something, and then pull all of these out, make it big, make all these bolts a lot bigger, and then I'll take a mill and cut out a shape of aluminum that looks like that, and I'll just weld the aluminum plate right onto here and put some bolts in there. That will bolt up there like that. And I've got the throttle cable here. This end has a 90-degree bend. That would maybe go like on a motorcycle grip or something. That'll be going for my gas pedal. This end here goes to the pump accelerator. Right here you can see that thing move. Just pumps more fuel in there and goes up to the intake, and then this one here goes to the top for the slide to move the round slide in there. It's not a square slide. I really do like these carbs. They're really good, especially for 20 bucks a piece. And I got the air filter for about $4, and the throttle cable will run you about $7. One thing I do have to note is this, it's got the steel fuel line. I'll show you guys back there in a second. And it goes into this nice rubber fuel line, which is kind of stuck underneath the engine right now. This is 1/4-inch fuel line, and that's 1/8 inch. So I just slip a piece of something a little bit bigger, and then this will go on to that. That's how I usually do it. So you get the steel line, it goes back here underneath the frame, kind of hugs that side, and you can see it right here, and that goes into the fuel pump. There's a fuel filter, and then there's a big gas tank that sits right back in here. And one problem I'm gonna have is that's probably at least a 5 to 10 psi fuel pump, and these things will flood because they're made to be. You have your carb down here on a motorcycle, and you have your gas tank above it, so it's just gravity fed. With the fuel pressure, it will flood this and give it way too much gas and choke it out and whatnot. So I'll have to put a fuel regulator like I did on the off-road tractor. Now on the beast mode, when I did dual PZ30s, it had a tank up here. It did have a tank back here with a fuel pump, but the tank up in the dashboard didn't require a fuel pump, and it's just gravity fed to these things, so it worked really good. Moving on back, we've got the drive shaft in the cup hole here. It is loose just for now, as you can see. And one thing to note that's kind of cool on these Hondas is they got the big tilt. The cylinders tilt up to the side, but the steering shaft, it's got a universal joint that goes up to the steering wheel, but the steering shaft is in the direct center of the frame. The actual engine crankshaft is off to the right just a little bit, so the drive shaft can pass by, but not actually take up the middle, so your steering wheel is off to the left. And back here, we have the same end. This drive shaft can go on whichever way, and there's also the same piece that go back here. There's actually a hydrostatic transmission here, which I took out, but it's got that same piece that I'll take off, put it on there, and then make some kind of hub or something to connect to this gearbox. Note, it's not actually going to be this gearbox, because this is like a warm gear drive with a huge gear reduction, but I want to find something 1-to-1, maybe 1-to-2, and I'll actually probably cut this drive shaft down so this end is right about here, because I got a lot more space to work right in here. Nothing's here except when I put the pin or the fenders on. I might have to cut out a little spot and you'll just see the top of a gearbox. So with the gearbox, I'd have it 90 degrees. I would have 2 pulleys down here, 1 pulley and 1 pulley. 1 pulley would probably go back to the back transmission. 2nd pulley would have a drive belt going to the front transmission. And that does mean each transaxle will have its own belt clutch here to tighten and loosen at the same time. Each transmission will have a same shifter rod that will go from right about that location to this location. But obviously I'll probably raise it up a bunch and keep it underneath the frame as much as possible. And on the Honda dashboard, there's a big PTO level that engages or disengages the deck. I could probably use that cable or just make a linkage that drops down, and you can shift it 1 through 5 or 1 through 6, and then you have reverse all the way back. Some little things will be running Peerless 930 transaxles, both front and back, to get the same ratio. This is obviously the nice all-wheel steel you'd find maybe in a Noma. Those are what they're commonly found in. It's got the hub here, knuckles and whatnot, and now you got the universal joint. These ones are greasable. That's pretty nice, but some of me never used these is what it looks like, because they're kind of worn out. As you can see, there's the universal joint, and if I pull this off, you can see it. This has actually got a spline on it, and that's got a spline in there, so I can't, if I want to lock this, which I probably won't, I have to use these axles, because I'd have to cut a spline and a standard axle, maybe a solid axle in there. And for the, I'll probably leave that unlocked, but I will have to open it because the input pulley does not turn much, and it has been opened before. There's red sealant all the way around it. For the back 930, I'm going to open it up and then probably solid axle swap it, because those give it a wide front tire width. I need something to compensate for that. So I'll have a wider axle, most likely with some pillow block bearings coming down to there, and keeping the back axle a little bit stronger. And I will have to figure out a way to lock it to the ball gear in there. One nice thing to the 2-cylinder Hondas here is they're honestly pretty light for being a 2-cylinder. Might weigh a little bit more than a V-twin, but as you can see, it's pretty light. Might weigh 100 pounds. It's just a little clip to show you guys an idea of the Honda frame here. You got your full shock vibration mounts here. They're all rubberized. And you got your frame down here. Engine kind of sits on this sometimes. It's a pretty big engine spot, or an engine bay in here. Really well designed. So that's pretty much it for this video of Offroad MudMowers. Hope you guys did enjoy this short video. Just wanted to show you guys my plans for the build off for 2019 here. I'm really hoping for a great outcome. I think I'm going to achieve that with what I've got planned here. If I ever get it finished, which I hope I do, I might even have the time to throw a front bumper on it with some kind of winch here. And I'm also going to need a good set of ATV tires. I'm not looking for too aggressive because I will have most of the time 4 wheels turning or powered. So if you guys have a good suggestion for ATV tires, leave it down below. I do have some tires in mind to go all the way around it, but I'm looking at about 20 to 22 inch tires, nothing too aggressive. So stay tuned for more.